Do you want bread? And he's like, no, I need to, the bread is to do the will of my Father. And they said, did he already eat some bread? And he finally is like, clueless. Look at these people. Oh, well, we've been around a long time. We've been with you, Jesus, and there's people everywhere you go. You know what? Just eat. He's like, I can't eat. I've got to do the will of my Father. I'm telling you that today, right now, he sees potential in your harvest right now, in your circle of influence. Look on the fields, for they are already white to harvest. Why, the question I have, why do we often minimize the potential in the people we know? I promise you, Corinne had all those beautiful gifts that are emerging in her now 3 years ago, but I didn't see them. But you know what? They were there. They were just waiting to be nurtured. Paul and Melinda, I'm going to have to turn my back to you because I do want to see these slides as we go. Okay, the Paul and Melinda story. How many of you remember Paul and Melinda? I brought them here. Well, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about their story, Paul and Melinda's story. Let's see if I've got it here. Yeah, let me get my cheat sheet. Okay, Paul and Melinda. I was meeting Paul and Melinda for lunch, and my husband had talked with them at the gym, and she was hungry for Bible study, she says, and so I'm meeting them for lunch. Well, this is much I knew about her. She had a friend who attended our church, and this friend said, well, I want you to know that she's very materialistic. Hey, first slide, please. She's very materialistic. That's Melinda and her sister. And she's very vain. Next slide, please. She's very vain. She is also extremely image conscious. Next one, please. And very, very, materialistic. They lived the American dream. They had the life that very few, even in America, lived. Next slide, please. That's Paul and Melinda. Next one, please. She got a brand new, top-of-the-line Mercedes convertible every year. What's crazy, she doesn't even really like convertibles, but she thought they looked cool. So they just, whatever, every year she wanted them, she bought them. 5 nose surgeries, plastic surgery on the nose, and tons of other cosmetic surgeries that, that we can't even mention where they're at. But yeah, you got the money, you can get it fixed, right? She could not stop with that. Next slide, please. That's their family yacht, okay? Paul and Melinda. Now, I know this. I'm going to meet them for lunch. She wants Bible study. He really doesn't want Bible study, but she's bought a new Bible and wants to understand her Bible. So I'm going, so now what am I going to do? You know, I do very well if they're really down and outer people, poor people. But I'm human. I had to really, really pray to crucify my own insecurities. Because I'm thinking, okay, now wait a minute, God. Let me see what you're seeing. I want to see what you're seeing. And when I sat down, when I tell you, I sat down at that table with her that day, and those big brown eyes looking at me, I will never forget it. I saw the hunger coming out of her heart, her soul. And we began to talk about Bible study. Her husband was sitting there, and it wasn't long. He kind of joined the conversation, and the next thing you know, I was teaching Bible study. And then what I did find out as I began to teach Bible study, next slide, please, I began to find out, that was Paul and some of his bodybuilding things. There's Hannah's father over on the right. That's Hannah's dad, Joel. He's our associate pastor. Okay, and Paul won a trophy. He's very proud of that trophy because he was bodybuilding. He's very proud of that. The things that you go through when you're teaching people Bible study. But you know. All right, next slide, please. Okay, what I did not know, and I found out later, is that every night they would be crying at night saying, is this all there is to life? So afraid of losing what they had, full of anxiety. They couldn't have company in this gorgeous house because they might get dirt on the floor. There might be some dirt on the rug. So obsessive compulsive. She had eating disorders. when I tell you is some of the saddest stories. They were praying themselves to sleep at night on God, is this all there is to life? They said, we never did fit in the world because we never really liked to get drunk. There was always the friends, so-called friends we had, were always trying to take advantage of our money or trying to hit on one of us. And so they said, is this all there is to life? Okay, now, let's go to the next slide, please. Well, next slide, please. Okay, today, let's just fast forward 7 years later. Paul Trinacost, the guy who was in the picture, full of steroids, because he was bodybuilding, so funny. Brother Cooley, our district secretary at the time, was, you'd have to know the guy. He just says whatever comes to his mind, and sometimes that is not a very good thing to do. But he's sitting there eating lunch one Sunday, and Paul's sitting there. He's brand new. I mean, they're in Bible study. They're eating Sunday lunch with us, you know. And so Brother Cooley looks over at him and said, son, you look like you're on steroids to me. And Paul goes, he looks at my husband, and my husband said, you know, Brother Cooley, the Lord is doing a great work in Brother Paul's life. And we just went right on by, you know. Oh, God help us. Anyway, Paul Trinacost, 7 years later, now he is, for 3 years, he has been our plant pastor for the Pentecostal of Mandeville, doing a great job. They have around 100, a little over, a little under sometime, in attendance. They have won lots of new people. In fact, let's go to the next slide, please. There he's praying. This is their praise singers. We multiplied about 40, and now they have multiplied that to the group they have now. Beautiful building. This is their praise singers. It's a bad picture, but you can see Paul in the background back there. There's Paul to the right, lifting his hands. Next slide, please. And there is Paul praying in the altar. Next slide, please. And that's my lovely Melinda and Paul. Now, when I tell you, that woman is one of the most powerful, dynamic speakers you will ever hear in your lifetime. I just came home from this past week, women's conference, where we had thousands of women there. You know who gave the keynote address? Was Melinda Trinacost. And whenever more I tell you, the Holy Ghost was all over that place. What a powerful, wonderful woman of God. She does most of their Christian education, is an unbelievable prayer warrior. She will put most of us to shame because she will get up. I don't care if she's got to go on a trip. Like, for example, I'm just going to be truthful. I got up at 3:30 to get on the plane to come here. If that had been Melinda, she would have been up at 2:30 because she has to get in her hour of prayer. What a woman of God. And this is what she said to me. I never knew. She had lived 40, she was about 40 when I met her. She said, I never knew I had anything of value except my body. Never knew I had anything of value. I'm going to tell you, God sees potential in your harvest now. He sees potential overlooked. He sees potential in your harvest field now. Tip number 10. God understood the importance of process and partnership. By the way, Paul really wanted to come with me this time. He almost did. I believe he'll probably come the next time. What a powerful man of God he is. And y'all just got to see them again. I do want you to pray for her. She has polycystic kidney disease, and she's had that. It's a hereditary thing. She's had all of her life, but it has started to multiply. And unless God undertakes, she's going to have a liver resection, which is very serious, or organ transplants. But let me tell you, that don't slow that woman down. Oh my God, she is amazing, amazing. All right, tip number 10. Jesus understood the importance of process and partnership. John 4:36-38. Others have labored, he says, and you have entered into their labors. Sometimes we think we've got to do it all at one time, and sometimes God honors us. I was able to go through the process with Paul and Melinda. I was able to be there. You know, she's the toe dipper. He plunges into the deep end of the pool. He has never seen anyone receive the Holy Ghost the day he got the Holy Ghost. And when he received the Holy Ghost, he shook like he had been